Hello, we're in Seacroft in Leeds at the digital lounge of the LS14 Trust, and I'm with Nick and Joe who work here, and just been talking to them about their work and some of the difficulties really they've got with maintaining the work they do and funding and all those sorts of things. So, Nick, Joe, can you tell me a little bit about what you do here?
The Digital Lounge itself is just an open, free resource space for local residents, and the whole idea is that it's a completely drop-in space, that nobody is kind of sort of comes in at a certain level and goes out at a certain level. They're just welcomed and are here to be able to use the facilities as and when at their pace, and kind of sort of it's a local resource that's very welcoming, and it enables people that wouldn't normally interact with this type of place come in because of its format. I think
people feel really relaxed when they come in here. There's no pressure, so they can just come and go as they please. There's nobody threatening them saying you'll lose your benefits if you don't look for work and those kind of things. So yeah, I think it works really well because of that. Because we're a lounge. There's no formality. I think that's why it works really well.
Yeah, I mean that. Even when we've sort of spoke to kind of the members, and we've got like over 670 odd members now, all within like a 2 or 3 mile radius of where we're based. When we ask them about courses and stuff like that, it's not what they just don't want that kind of stuff. They want to come in and learn and do stuff completely at their own pace. And the problem that we've got is that it's not new, it's not innovative. It's just working with people and doing the kind of work that they want to do. And that's why I think we've struggled to attract funding really and support, because we're not reinventing the wheel all the time. I think the problem with funding schemes is they are quite short-sighted, and then the ones that are a bit longer term, like the Reaching Communities grants through Big Lottery, are extremely more and more difficult to sort of get really. I mean, we've applied couple of times, and each time we've kind of been knocked back, and again it was down to the fact that what we do doesn't sound very innovative. So yeah, innovation I think is the problem, but that is not what local people need. They need a place they can come in and access as they need it, and I think with all the changes with the welfare reform, this, places like this are going to be more and more. We're going to be absolutely. We're at capacity as it is. It's going to be mental, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's interesting because you're saying that the funding is predicated on innovation, and what you're doing doesn't seem very innovative. But to me, it is innovative in that you're one of the few people who gives that sort of space for people to do things at their own pace. You're patient with them. You don't try and push them down a particular route or push them through a particular course. And from my point of view, I think that's definitely what's needed at the moment. And that need is becoming greater all the time because, as you said, we've got welfare reform that's all going to be managed online. We've got the universal credit coming in, and people who are not online are going to really suffer. And it seems to me you've got a model here for digital inclusion in a housing estate like this, which is very necessary. And you've also got a good membership, which is... you were telling me earlier on that when you first started, people were saying everybody's got their own computer, you don't need a centre like this, and that you proved them wrong.
Yeah, we certainly have, yeah. There's lots of people like that. Everybody's got their own computers at home, they're all online, they're all doing... Why would they need to come use Digital Lounge? And like I say, 18 months later, here we are with over 600 members. It just goes to prove that point that not everybody has got a computer and internet access. So we are needed.
Yeah, I think what we found was even more so as sort of times are getting tighter for everybody, is even those that did have access at home that had, maybe they were using a dongle because they couldn't either afford, well, it's not so much affording the regular broadband. The problem with that is they need a contract with BT, and a lot of people can't necessarily get that if they've had issues with debt in the past or anything like that. So there's barriers to be able to access some of the cheapest services, and it always hits those that have got the least budget. It's just typical that's the way it happens. But so those that were buying sort of using the dongles which they're topping up. But then if you've got a choice between putting £5 electric on your meter or £5 on a dongle, obviously you're going to put it in your electric meter, but then if then you go to the job centre and the job centre says if you ain't applied for 5 jobs by tomorrow, we're going to sanction you, and they've got nowhere to go and access to be able to apply for those jobs. It just,
It's a vicious circle.
yeah, and that's what we're seeing, and that's why there's enough pressure on people as it is, and the last thing we need to be doing is putting more pressure on. So we say, we've no power to take anything away from anybody, but we do have the tools to be able to help people at their pace, at the right time, and when they want it. And that is kind of the big thing, isn't it?
And you were telling me that you get a lot of referrals from the job centre, from people that they can't deal with, who they send down to you, but you don't actually get any funding to deal with those people.
No. What do you say on average? People from the job centre come referred down a week?
I'd say about 3 or 4.
3 or 4 people every week come from the job centre, and they come down, and usually what they need is help to set up an email account, to register
for Universal Job Match, updating CVs, getting CVs added to the Universal Job Match site, just those kind of things, and then looking and applying for X amount of jobs each week. So, because they need access to do that, obviously, so they're coming down here and use our resource. So we just help them in any way we can. Even online forms, application forms, are quite difficult as well. Some of our members struggle with those. So we sit and help them out as much as we can. I mean, you can't actually get the job for the person, but you try your best to make it look decent on their application forms, of doing their emails and attaching the CVs, and so that's the kind of thing we do.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah.
So really, it's the simple, basic stuff, but it's time consuming, and I guess that's why they're like, oh, go down to the digital lounge, they'll help you there, because
they struggle.
Yeah.
They struggle. You only get a set amount of time to sit with your advisor. You get 20 minutes. I mean, you can't. There's no way you can possibly help anybody in 20 minutes. It's not. It's just not happening.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've found there's been a big increase of a particular group of people that are using the space more, and it's more gentlemen from between the age of 30 and 55. And that's the majority of during the day of who comes and uses the space. And again, that's not because we've aimed it at any age group or anything like that. That just seems to be the group that are needing to use and access this service more than anything. So, and they seem to be the majority of people the Job Centre Plus send down as well. Again, if they're the most difficult clients for them to work with, I don't know, but that seems to be the majority. And we've been doing the work club for, 18
months.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
And no, we've not had a penny's worth of funding from them.
Mm-hmm.
We did apply for some funding, and it was unsuccessful, and that was down to the fact that it wasn't seen as innovative enough, or that it was work that they could do themselves. So they didn't see the kind of value in being able to continue to support the work that we do. So yeah, it's hard. I don't know where, after September where we go. So that's why we're kind of out talking to as many people as we can, going saying, we know this works, we know that this is needed. How the heck do we kind of convince people to keep places like this to stay open?
And it works because you're actually overwhelmed, aren't you, with numbers of people that you need to support. And the problem you've got is that some of your funding's coming to an end now, so you're not even going to be able to maintain the current level of services unless something changes. But you actually struggling to deal with the numbers of people you're dealing with already.
Yeah.
So with an extra 2 staff, another digital lounge somewhere maybe on this day. Yeah. I
mean, what we've because it takes time to kind of sort of you build relationships with them. You have certain members that become regulars, and over time we've established relationships with them, and some of them have learnt as they've been in here, and now they are volunteering and helping other people that are coming in, which is really, really nice to see. And again, that we're not saying, right, you've got to be here at that time and do this and do that. They come at their own free will and help out when they can. But we've tried to say that, there's still a need, even though we've got this here. It's a big enough estate that actually you could have another one of these down in South Seacroft. And you'd still I think, being inundated. So I think that the need grows, but our capacity is...
Stays the same.
This is why we're actually only 20, but we're just aged massively. But yeah,
yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose.
I know. I guess we'll find ways to do stuff. We always will do, because we see how important it is. But it would just be, I think, wouldn't it be great to get a bit of recognition for this type of work? Not saying us and that we're amazing. It's the recognition that this type of work and this type of way of working is really important. So it's kind of getting that story to the people that make the decisions about how long funding lasts for and what it should be doing is important, I think, for the future of places like this.
Something that occurs to me about the work that you're doing is I come across people all the time that struggle with using technology, particularly using with computers. And these are people who've been through some sort of course or digital inclusion process, but it doesn't stick with them. And it's a particular bugbear of mine is that that we think that once people have been digitally included, that's the end of the story. But I think that using computers is like learning a language, that you need to keep doing it. And it seems to me that having facility close at hand like yours, which is patient with people, is a particularly good help in that sort of thing. And I just wondered what your views were on that sort of thing.
You should say that, because I spoke to a lady yesterday about it. She'd done some course on a Word package about 10, 12 years ago. And I was like, well, basically, they're all more or less the same. They don't change that much. It's just little bits of it. Just come down, come and have a go, come and have a mess about, do a few documents, and come do it every week. And you'll get back into it, and that'll be it. You'll know, and you can say, yeah, I can say I've done this, and I've remembered it.
That's it.
And that's how it works. It's just practicing. People come down and you must look for jobs, It's one of the most tedious things to ever do. You're not going to learn how to use a computer doing it like that. Go online, research something you're interested in, whether it be football or a programme on telly. Just go on. You can't break the computer. Just have a go, have a mess about, and do something fun on it, and you'll learn a lot quicker. You'll remember things, and it really does help. Yeah. There's no one saying you must do this and it's got to be done like that.
Yeah.
Because you don't learn like that.
If you think about Paul will be, he's late 50s.
He's 60.
Oh, is he?
2 weeks
Oh,
ago,
yeah. Oh, sorry. It was his birthday. Now, when he first started coming in, he'd not used the computer before. He's been a member for, about 14 months now. And he comes in every day. He has his spot at his computer. He gets pretty upset if there's somebody in his place. And he's kind of sort of... It's become like a bit of a second home to him now, He now gets up and makes the teas and coffees for everybody as well. But he's self-taught, We help him with the bits of the basics. But him being able to come every day and repeat some of the stuff and know that he can make those mistakes and that he's not going to get into trouble, he now is completely competent, and he has his own little dongle that he comes in and he's got his stuff on, and it's just it's
great. He's learned how to copy and paste.
But it's
that was the recent one.
That's it, and he gets dead excited about it, and that it is completely about people learning at their own pace and being able to come down regular and not feel, right, you've been through this course 6 weeks, you're out, off you go now. You can use a computer. It's just not like that.